Before I get to the rest of the episode, I just want to say something about my homeboy who laid to rest last Saturday. His name was Josh Josh White. I'm not gonna say his middle name. I don't think he would want me to do him like that. But Joshua White, aka J Dub, man. We used to call him J. Our coalition, our friend group, my brother group. We called him J Dub. Now, my older brother Aaron and our other brother Courtney, they actually knew Josh first. What I'm saying? They knew him before I did because they used to work with him at TTE. We all truck drivers, so TTE is a trucking fuel company, and they all used to work together. Um, I came to know J Dub and Carter uh later on in like our fantasy football league. But it's just funny how life works. Something that starts off as fantasy football, somewhere down the line it turns into a real brotherhood. And I'm thankful that it did. You know what I'm saying? When I actually became a truck driver, that's when we all got closer. We started those little group chats and text lines and we all used to get on the phone together and talk on the phone on our hands-free headsets. You know what I'm saying? We used to, um, that's when we all got closer. Um, we all realized we had the same kind of humor and the type of humor that probably shouldn't be said out loud, but we all shared that. We were all just guys just trying to figure out life, holding each other up, holding each other down, keeping each other grounded, laughing, joking, cracking jokes on each other most of the time. That's what J Dub was he was really known for, you know what I'm saying? We all had this running joke. J Dub always kept that wooden spoon stirring stuff up because J Dub, used to like to cook. And I we used to get on a couple of guys like, nah, you still got that metal spoon, we got that wooden spoon, and reserve the flavor. You know what I'm saying? Um, while we were on the phone, if things got too quiet, uh, if things were too quiet for too long while we were on the phone, J Dub would get to mixing stuff up. You know what I'm saying? That was just him. That was just the things that he did. Um, I remember when I lost my job, and this was after the diagnosis. That he was diagnosed with cancer, and he had a spinal disease. Um, I remember I lost my job, and he wasn't working either. And we had a real conversation about life, and he always told me things like, "Hey man, this ain't the end. You gonna make it. Everything's gonna be all right." And he had girls. His first couple kids was girls, and I have a daughter, so we talked about raising girls and stuff like that. And he just a real conversation between us two, and I'll never forget it. I remember he, in that conversation, he told me, he said, JJ, you can call me anytime, man. My line 24. Cause I don't know if you knew, but I ain't got no job either. That was just remember him saying that, man. That was him, man. That's just the way he was. You know, even in the middle of his own storm, saying he still made room to encourage somebody else like me. Somebody he didn't know as long as his other friends, but he still accepted me like a brother. You know what I'm saying? Around the Super Bowl time, I'll never forget being at his house. We had the Super Bowl party at his house, and me and Carter were getting on him about eating because he was at kind of at the end of his journey, and he wasn't eating much. We were getting on him about eating or eating better, something like that. We was getting on him about, and he looked at me and said, JJ, you find your way in here, right? And I guess he was insinuating if I found my way into his house, I could find my way out. You know what I'm saying? So we bust out laughing, crying, laughing around that, man. We all lost it, bro. But but that's what I'm gonna miss the most about him. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna miss the laughs, the things he used to say in the group chat, the conference calls. You know what I'm saying? All of us on the phone together, which we will continue. We're not just gonna stop just because we lost a brother. I don't think he would want us to stop, just like Carter had said when we were talking. I'm gonna miss the brotherhood. It definitely won't be the same without him. But I truly believe that he's in a better place. He's not in any pain anymore. He's not struggling. I believe he's truly at peace, man. And I love you, J Dub. And I for one is gonna miss you. You forever be in our hearts. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna keep that wooden spoon stirring down here for you. You know what I mean? Uh moments like that remind you that life moves fast. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we don't realize how important people are until we're remembering them instead of just being able to pick up the phone and call them.